My name is Lily Thompson, and I work as a customer service representative at a busy tech company in San Francisco. Each day I sit at my desk surrounded by bright screens and the constant sound of ringing phones. Sometimes I feel excited about helping customers and solving their problems. But lately things have changed. My hands won't stop shaking. I can feel the flutter of anxiety in my stomach before every call. Today feels different. I can sense that a tough customer is waiting for me, and the thought makes my heart race. The bright lights above me feel too hot, and I take a deep breath, hoping to calm myself as I prepare for what lies ahead. As the morning progressed, the tension in my chest grew heavier. My stomach felt tight, and the friendly conversations around me faded into a dull roar. I knew I had to take a deep breath and face my first call, but all I could think about was how my hands shook on the desk and how quickly my heart raced. I glanced at my manager, Judy, who was chatting with a coworker. She seemed calm, but I couldn't shake the feeling that everyone was watching me. When it happened, all I could hear was the loud ringing of my phone. I took a steadying breath, reminding myself that I was trained for this. I can do this, I whispered to myself, hands trembling as I finally pressed the button to answer the call. Hello, this is Lily from TechServe. How can I help you? The voice on the other end was rough and impatient. You took too long to answer. I need help with my software, and I'm already late for a meeting. I swallowed hard. I'm really sorry about that. Let's see how I can assist you. My throat felt dry, and I focused on not letting my fears show. But my mind was racing. Was I speaking clearly? Would I mess things up? The customer began to explain the problem, but I struggled to catch every word through the panic swirling in my mind. I tried to jot down notes, but my hands betrayed me, the pen slipping across the page. I could hear Judy talking to another employee, her voice full of confidence. I wished I could sound like her. Can you repeat that? I asked, feeling embarrassed. I didn't want to ask, but my anxiety was taking over, and I needed to understand what was wrong. The customer's voice grew even more impatient, and I felt a wave of shame wash over me. I'm on the line here. Figure it out already. I wanted to disappear. My heart raced and I fought the urge to hang up. Just stay calm, I told myself. You know this. I tried to return to the problem and I asked a few more questions, but my fear kept creeping in like a heavy fog, making it hard to think clearly. I started to mix up answers and accidentally suggested the wrong solution. This may have made the customer even angrier, and I felt my cheeks burning with embarrassment. When the call finally ended with a huff and an echo of discontent, I put my headset down. My hands were still shaking and my breath was shaky. I looked over at Judy, who was still busy helping someone else. I wondered if she could tell that I was struggling. Everyone else seemed so good at their jobs, and I felt frustrated and alone. A coworker, Mark, must have sensed my discomfort. He glanced my way and offered a small smile, one of those reassuring smiles that said he understood a little bit of what I felt. First few calls can be tough, he said when he found a moment. You'll get the hang of it, trust me. Just take your time. I nodded, though I didn't completely believe what he said. Would I really get better? I worried about the next call. Would I stumble again or even make it worse? My mind was a whirlwind of negative thoughts. But for now, I had to pull myself together if I wanted to improve. I clung onto Mark's words like a lifeline, hoping that confidence would come with practice. I took another deep breath, readying myself for whatever challenge lay ahead. I needed to focus and regain my strength. It was time to tackle this anxiety, starting with the next call. Just as I gathered my thoughts after the difficult call, the ticking clock on my desk made me acutely aware that time was running out. I glanced at the screen, and the notifications for new support tickets piled up like heavy stones. Back-to-back emails from my manager reminded everyone about the urgent deadlines for the project due this Friday. It felt like pressure was mounting from every side. I could already feel the tight knot in my stomach turning tighter. Then my coworker Emily sat down next to me. Emily was good at her job, really good. She moved quickly and confidently, helping everyone with their issues. Hey Lily, can you give me a hand with this next call? She asked, looking a bit stressed herself. I'm swamped with these reports. Sure, I replied, my voice barely above a whisper, knowing I wasn't sure I could handle another challenge. The familiarity of panic crept back in, making my palms sweat. Emily took the next call, but as she spoke, I felt a mixture of admiration and envy. Listening to her expertly handle each concern reminded me of how far I still had to go. Everyone was counting on us, but instead of feeling encouraged, my heart sank. I didn't want to be a burden, but the anxiety wrapped around me like a heavy blanket. While Emily dealt with her calls, I tried to clear my head. I wanted to take notes on how she managed to stay so calm, but my nerves twisted together. I couldn't stop thinking that if I had to pick up another call, I might fail again in front of everyone. When the phone rang again, I hesitated, fingers hovering over the answer button, but then I remembered the customers waiting for help. They relied on us and I couldn't let my fear take over. So I picked up the call, mustering all the courage I could find. TechServe, this is Lily. How can I assist you? This time the customer sounded polite, but I almost missed it as my mind raced ahead. I focused hard to understand the issue. It wasn't just about fixing software. It was about helping someone who might be equally frustrated. I could hear the usual doubts whispering in my head, urging me to fear my own weakness, and a wave of frustration hit me. The more I engaged, the more pressured I felt. Have you tried this? I asked, desperately hoping this would not lead to another angry response. To my relief, the customer's tone softened. Actually, I haven't tried that. All right, let's see if it works. As I guided the customer through the steps, I noticed my hands weren't shaking as much anymore. Perhaps the tension was easing with the feeling of purpose. But suddenly, Emily got up and hurriedly shuffled past me. I can't handle this. I overheard her whisper to another employee. My chest tightened hearing her frustration, feeling the strain among our thinly stretched team. That moment ignited something in me. I understood the challenges we faced, the weight of the deadlines, the long hours. I knew that if I didn't find a way to manage this, it would only become harder. I needed to change how I did things. Taking another deep breath, I realized that I needed to be more proactive rather than reactive. I didn't have to wait for chaos to strike. I could use what I learned from Emily and apply it at my own pace. If I could face my fear and tackle each problem as a step towards growth, maybe I could change my story. Emboldened by this new understanding, I focused on the next challenge, knowing I had to step up, take control, and not let doubt dictate my actions any longer. I wasn't just surviving. I was ready to embrace this journey and learning experience. The afternoon sun streamed through the office windows, but inside my mind, a storm was brewing. The pressure had mounted to a breaking point. I had just hung up after another tense call with an unhappy customer. They were frustrated because a simple solution I suggested earlier had failed. I felt as if the ground beneath me had crumbled away, leaving only a pit of anxiety in its place. Just when I thought things couldn't get any more overwhelming, Judy walked over. Her expression was serious and my heart raced. Lily, she said with a firm tone, I need your help with this project. It's serious. We have to deliver on time or risk losing a major client. My heart sank. The very idea of taking on something bigger made my palms dampen with sweat. Okay, Judy, I mumbled, but inside I was questioning everything. Did I really have what it took? In that moment, my eyes caught sight of my coworkers huddled around a table. They laughed and encouraged one another, talking about solutions and brainstorming ideas. I felt the pull of envy and doubt again. You're too anxious, my inner voice taunted. You can't do this. But then I remembered Emily's words. We're in this together. I realized that I was not alone. Perhaps this was my moment to prove it to myself and others that I could step up. Taking a deep breath, I locked eyes with Judy. Let's do it, I said, finding newfound strength. Tell me what you need. Judy's look softened. I need someone to help finalize the details and prepare a plan to present to the client. I know it's a lot, but I believe in you. Her words stirred a blend of fear and determination within me. If Judy believed I could tackle this challenge, maybe I could too. As I listened to Judy explain the tasks, my mind raced. I jotted down notes, listening closely. But then a wave of doubt washed over me again. What if I'm not good enough? What if I can't handle this? The questions snowballed in my mind, but I shoved them aside. This was the moment I had to push through. I squared my shoulders and spoke up. Judy, how about we schedule a meeting with the team? We could gather everyone's ideas, pool our talents, and make this better together. A combined effort might alleviate some pressure. There was a brief silence. I could feel panic rising again. Had I overstepped? But Judy nodded enthusiastically. Great idea, Lily. That's exactly the teamwork we need. With determination ignited, I called everyone in. We gathered around, and I could already see the looks of support and relief wash over my team. As the meeting began, I realized this was my chance to shine. Not on my own, but as part of a team, we began to throw ideas on the table, brainstorming and discussing. The energy in the room changed, the laughter returned. We all became involved in the project, and thoughts that had once seemed like mountains began to feel like stepping stones. With each suggestion offered, I saw my self-doubt lessen, replaced instead by excitement. The pressure was there, but now it felt less daunting. As we wrapped up the meeting, I felt a sense of pride swell in my chest. I had taken my fear and transformed it into action. I knew the coming days wouldn't be easy, but I was ready to face the challenges head-on. I had made a decision to embrace my teamwork, creating possibilities in moments of uncertainty. This was my breaking point, a moment that allowed me to turn fear into strength. I was no longer waiting for the storm to pass. I was learning to dance in the rain. After our meeting ended, a wave of energy filled the room. I felt lighter, almost like I was walking on air. The team rallied together, each person expressing ideas and building off one another's input. I couldn't help but smile as I watched the excitement grow. It felt right, and I suddenly believed that maybe, just maybe, we could actually pull this project off. Over the next few days, we worked hard to put our plan into action. Everyone contributed, sharing their strengths. I focused on organizing our ideas and ensuring we stayed on track. I found I loved playing this role, bringing out the best in everyone and fostering clear communication. My anxiety didn't disappear completely, but it seemed to shrink more each day. However, just as I began to relax into my new responsibilities, we hit a speed bump. Something went wrong with one of our proposals, and I realized I had made an error in one of our documents. As soon as I noticed, dread washed over me. Panic bubbled just beneath the surface. What would the team think? Would they lose faith in me? I took a deep breath and informed Judy about my mistake. Surprisingly, she didn't react with anger or disappointment. Instead, she placed her hand on my shoulder and said, "Mistakes happen to everyone, Lily. You can learn from this and fix it. The important thing is how you handle it now." Her support surprised me. This was new territory for me, and I began to feel a sense of resilience growing within me. It was clear that Judy valued growth over perfection, and that reassured me amidst my swirling doubts. Deciding to act quickly, I gathered the team for an impromptu meeting. "Guys, I just noticed an error in our proposal. I'm sorry, I should have caught it sooner." My voice trembled at first, but I stood firm as every eye turned to me. Instead of the disappointment I feared, I saw encouragement and camaraderie wash over my coworkers. "We've all made mistakes," Emily said, nodding. "What matters is how we bounce back." I felt a rush of relief. We then jumped into problem-solving mode. Yes, we had made a mistake, but there was an overwhelming sense of teamwork that fueled our desire to fix it. Together, we reworked the proposal as a group, collaborating late into the evening. Everyone was fully engaged, full of ideas, and determined to get it right. When we presented the corrected proposal to our client, I felt the nervous flutter in my stomach again. But this time, I channeled my anxiety into determination. My hands shook only slightly as I spoke confidently alongside my teammates. As the client scrutinized the document, I held my breath, unsure of how they would respond. Yet, when they smiled and nodded, my heart danced with joy. "This is exactly what we needed," they said approvingly. I felt a weight lift off my shoulders, unlike anything I had experienced before. As we left the meeting, applause broke out among my coworkers. "Great job, Lily," one of them exclaimed. I had expected some compliments, but the volume of respect that flooded back surprised me. In that moment, I learned something critical about myself. I not only had the capability to lead but also to grow, accept mistakes, and thrive amidst challenges. The sense of belonging enveloped me, and the fear that had once held me back melted into joy and acceptance. This journey was transforming me more than I had anticipated. Rather than avoiding challenges, I was learning to embrace them as opportunities for growth. I looked around at my teammates, feeling grateful to be part of something special. Together, we were stronger than any worries that once loomed over our heads. After the successful presentation, I found myself sitting at my desk, the rush of adrenaline slowly fading. My heart had finally settled and I could think clearly again. I watched my coworkers chat and laugh nearby, the atmosphere lighter than it had been in weeks. They had been so supportive throughout the entire process, and I was filled with gratitude. Emily walked over and dropped a small package on my desk, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "I thought you deserved a little treat after the presentation," she said with a big smile. Inside the package was a box of my favorite cookies, and I couldn't help but grin. "You really helped everyone feel included, Lily. Most of the time, people are scared to admit mistakes. You showed us that it's okay," she added. Her words warmed my heart. I realized how important it was to foster an environment where everyone felt safe to express concern or make errors. It was something I had learned, but also something I wanted to encourage in the future. As I munched on a cookie, I pondered my own growth through this experience. Later that afternoon, I sat down with Judy for our routine check-in. I wanted to share my thoughts about the project and what I had learned. "Judy," I began, "I honestly didn't think I could manage such a big responsibility. I really struggled with anxiety at first, but I've realized that working with the team helped me see things differently." She nodded, encouraging me to go on. "Being part of a team relieves some of the pressure, doesn't it? Finding ways to lean on each other can often lead to success." "Yes," I replied, feeling a surge of confidence. I thought I had to do everything myself, but seeing how everyone plays a role opened my eyes. It's so much easier when we all work together. Plus, mistakes aren't the end. They can actually turn into opportunities if we face them together. "You've articulated a valuable lesson, Lily," she affirmed. "Real growth often happens when we embrace challenges. That moment of vulnerability with your coworker brought the team closer. You handled it amazingly." As I listened to her words, I felt a surge of pride and clarity. My perspective on my role had shifted, and I understood that my job wasn't only about individual success. It was about collaboration and support. The willingness to be vulnerable and admit mistakes was a sign of strength, not weakness. "That makes me think about how I want to approach my work moving forward," I said. "I want to cultivate this mindset among my coworkers. I want everyone to feel like they can stretch and grow, too. Maybe I could lead a team workshop on effective communication, or how to handle mistakes gracefully." "That sounds like a fantastic plan," Judy said, her eyes gleaming with approval. "It reflects your commitment to not only your growth, but also to benefiting the whole team. Taking this initiative could inspire others." That realization made my spirit soar. I wasn't just learning for myself. I could help others blossom too. Each challenge was now an invitation for growth, and I found myself feeling genuinely excited about the future. The pressure I previously viewed as overwhelming now seemed like a chance to explore new possibilities, to innovate, and even to inspire. As the day wound down, I glanced around the office, filled with warmth at the camaraderie forming among my teammates. I finally recognized that I wasn't alone in this journey. Everyone faced struggles, and together, we could overcome buttons of fear or uncertainty, transforming them into remarkable achievements. I left the office that day not just with cookies but with a newfound sense of purpose. I was no longer solely a customer service representative. I was a teammate dedicated to growth and progress, both for myself and for those around me. This experience had reshaped my perspective and ignited a passion within me that I couldn't wait to explore. With each passing day, I felt more confident and motivated. The lessons I learned from the recent project transformed my mindset completely. I no longer saw challenges as threats, but rather as opportunities to grow and develop. When I stepped into work each morning, I was excited about what lay ahead, not filled with uncertainty but with curiosity. It was Monday morning, and the atmosphere in the office felt vibrant. My coworkers buzzed with laughter and chatter, energizing the whole room. Rather than shying away from interactions, I found myself actively joining conversations, sharing a laugh, and learning about others' projects. My anxiety had been replaced by a newfound sense of belonging. During our team meetings, I consistently volunteered ideas and offered support to my colleagues. I proposed small brainstorming sessions where everyone could share their thoughts without fear. The more I engaged, the more I noticed how others began to open up as well. Early on, I had thought that strong leaders acted alone, but now I saw how invaluable collaboration was. When one team member suggested that we try out weekly check-ins for ongoing projects, I supported her idea wholeheartedly. I realized that by encouraging participation, I was fostering an inviting atmosphere for everyone. Even when stress bubbled up during busy periods, I noticed a remarkable change in my reactions. Instead of shutting down or panicking, I took deep breaths and reminded myself that I had a support system in place. During particularly hectic days, when the phone rang off the hook, I embraced the chaos with a calm demeanor. I approached each call with an open heart, eager to assist and learn. One particular afternoon, a frustrated customer called about a repeated problem we had addressed and thought we'd resolved. In the past, this might have made my hands shake, but this time I felt steadier. I listened carefully to the customer's concerns and assured them we would find a solution. "I understand how frustrating this can be," I said reassuringly. "Let's figure this out together." As I spoke, I paralleled the teamwork ethic I had embraced, acknowledging problems, inviting collaboration, and working through challenges alongside others. The customer softened, and by the end of the call, they were in a calmer frame of mind. My confidence soared higher. I realized I had not only helped the customer feel heard, but also had done so without letting my anxiety undermine my ability to perform effectively. In the following weeks, I decided to initiate a monthly workshop for our team to tackle self-improvement topics. It felt like the perfect opportunity to strengthen our connections and keep pushing ourselves to embrace challenges together. I planned the first session around effective communication techniques, aiming to create a space where everyone could develop their skills and feel comfortable sharing their experiences. As I sat down to draft the workshop outline, I felt a rush of excitement. The thought of empowering my coworkers made me eager to put ideas into action. It was profound to see how this process, which had once felt overwhelming, now brought me fulfillment. I had shifted from a place of fear to a position of initiative, and I relished the opportunity to lead and support my fellow team members. Reflecting on my progress, I recognized that my newfound mindset reflected a deep change. Instead of simply seeing myself as a customer service representative, I came to understand my impact as a guide for others, helping them navigate challenges. I was no longer afraid of mistakes or pressures. I welcomed them as part of our growth journey. I felt grateful for the experience that had propelled this transformation. Each day now unveiled endless possibilities, and I was ready to lead with confidence and openness. Whatever lay ahead, I knew I could face it boldly, armed with lessons learned and a vision for a more encouraging and collaborative workplace. As I sat in my office, surrounded by the familiar yet now comforting sounds of ringing phones and laughter, I reflected on how much I had grown over the past few months. The challenges that once made my hands tremble now felt manageable, and each day I approached my work with a sense of purpose. I had transformed from a person dominated by anxiety into someone who embraced the possibilities of teamwork and collaboration. The monthly workshops I started had taken off in a way I hadn't anticipated. My coworkers were engaged and eager to participate. More than just improving our skills, these sessions became a space for open dialogue. We shared our concerns, celebrated our successes, and acknowledged our mistakes without judgment. The atmosphere shifted into one of unity, and I felt proud to play a role in creating it. On a bright Tuesday morning, I walked into the meeting room, looking forward to the well-attended workshop. People chatted enthusiastically as they settled into their chairs, vibrant energy filling the room. As I stood at the front, I felt a flicker of nerves but quickly quelled them. Instead of drowning in self-doubt, I reveled in the joy of what we had built together. "Thank you all for coming," I began, my voice steady and inviting. I had prepared a lesson about effective communication, but this time, it felt more like a discussion than a lecture. Today, I want us to talk about how we can express our ideas clearly and ensure everyone feels included. As I shared my thoughts, I noticed my coworkers nodding along, eager to contribute their perspectives. We carried on organically, building ideas together. The connections among us grew stronger with each conversation. It struck me then that what had made this possible wasn't just the tools I had learned, but the collaborative mindset that had blossomed within our team. During a break, Emily approached me and said, "Lily, I can't believe how much our team has changed. You've really inspired us all to be more open and supportive." Her words touched me deeply. I had never imagined that I could have such a profound influence on my colleagues. Later that day, as I returned to my desk, I received an email notification. It was from Judy. She thanked me for leading the workshops, reinforcing the positive team culture that was forming. I felt a swell of pride as I realized that not only had I changed, but I was also contributing to our team's growth in ways I had once thought impossible. However, I knew I wasn't perfect. There were days when doubt lingered at the edges of my thoughts, reminding me that challenges will continue to arise. The important thing was that I had developed the resilience to face them, to learn and grow alongside my team. Rather than avoiding challenges, I now saw them as opportunities, each one a chance to develop my skills further, and to encourage others to do the same. In quiet moments, I allowed myself to ponder the future. What else can I do? I wondered. My heart quickened at the endless possibilities. Perhaps I would spend more time mentoring newer team members, or engage with other departments. Each step I took felt lighter now, filled with a sense of optimism that had eluded me for so long. I had proven to myself that I was capable of navigating hardships, leading with confidence, and supporting others in their journeys. The workplace once felt like a mountain too high to climb, but now I relished every moment of the journey, ready to embrace whatever was next with an open heart. This was the beginning of a new adventure, both for myself and our team. I understood now that growth didn't happen overnight. It was a process, one that required patience, courage, and a commitment to learning. As I logged off for the day and stepped outside, the sky brightened before me, filled with hope and promise. I couldn't wait to see where this journey would lead next.